Okay, we are back. Martin, talk to us about super investment options. We've all got a super account, whether you've got much or minor in those accounts. What are some broad rules of thumb that we need to run our eyes over with our super 10 years out from retirement?
Yeah, cool. A couple of things is that people used to think, super back in the day is you work, you get super, the day you retire, you take a big chunk, you cash your super in, and that money's just got to last and spread out over a period of time. That is not how superannuation should be working and does work, is that we build it up. When we retire, we keep it inside of a super fund provider. We just change it from a fund that's accumulating to a fund that we start drawing out on per week or per fortnight. And that's important to know, or be a reminder, is it's not just, okay, I'm going to cash in my super. It's I'm going to live off my super and take it out regularly. Why is that important? Is that if I'm retiring 10 years time, my super is not invested just for the next 10 years. It's invested for the next 20, 30, 40 years of my life. And therefore the investment options I pick, it's not saying, okay, I'm retiring 2 years, I need to make sure it's all in the conservative option because I'm going to cash it in. I want that money to last for many, many years past my retirement. I'm hoping to live for another 20 or 30 years in retirement or more. That money needs to be invested and last for that period of time. We know that cost of living isn't going down. It's going to keep going up, and it's going to keep going up for many more decades. So yes, we need to understand the investment options, but don't get too narrow-sighted around that. In saying that, the stats are around 70% of people have never changed the option of their super. When you set up a super fund, the super fund gives you a default option. Around 70% of the population are still in that default option. It may be the right option for you, but it may not be. It may just be the option that was picked for you that you'll stay in until you actually have a look at it. You can change it. You can take it up the risk spectrum. You can take it down the risk spectrum. You can set up certain investment buckets. And we did do an episode on this not too long ago that might be worth going back and listening to make sure that it's set up both for the next few decades, but also if we know that, hey, at 62, I'm going to retire and I'm going to dip in and take 200 grand out to pay the mortgage off, perhaps that portion should be more conservative, but the other 70 or 80% of it's going to last me for a long time should still be invested in some assets that are going to keep growing along the way as well.
Yeah, and it goes back to knowing your numbers, like our first point. If you know that it costs you $55,000 per year, and we'll exclude the mortgage out of that, to live and expenses, I would even say, Martin, back to that episode that we did on different buckets pre- and post-retirement, it won't hurt, I don't think, if you were 3 or 4 years out from retirement and you made the judgment call with your super, I'm just going to carve 3 years worth of expenses and put that in cash or a really conservative option in the super fund, knowing that we need a big pot of money to grow for the next 20 years, at least at any time that you want to retire, because it could be fluid. It's like, I love what I do. Mortgage is not a big deal. I work for the government or somewhere. If I get made redundant, well, I'll probably call it a day then. So if that day ever comes and surprises you at any time, leading, call it past age 58, making up a number, you got 3 years worth of cash in the super fund. So at any time, you can click draw down effectively and have certainty for 3 years of income.
Yeah, and little or no risk to the share markets or the investment markets because you've set that up in that bucket. And we both agree. We don't want or need 100% in that bucket, but it would be appropriate to have a number of years there. And even though I'm not going to retire for 7 years, as we mentioned, life can change. We get a redundancy, there's a health change, our partner's health changes, and all of a sudden we've got to retire a bit earlier than we planned or expected. Oh, whoops, it's the wrong time in the markets that I can't control. But can I not retire this month? Well, you might not have the choice to. You might have to retire this month and start living off it. So getting that set up in advance. When is the right time? 5 to 10 years out. I said people do leave it too late, but at least looking at it now, understanding it now, having a bit of a plan of attack around the numbers, around the super, Maybe I've got more than one or two super funds and it's worth looking at consolidating. Yes, but pause. You may have 2 or 3 insurance policies, and if you merge them all in, you're going to lose the others. So pause and have a look. Perhaps it's worthwhile getting your insurances checked before you go and consolidate that, but at least understanding your numbers, knowing what they look like, and starting to put a bit of a plan of attack around that makes sense.